Okay, we're looking at ways to find the equation of a line, and there's going to be different ways just depending on what information we have to begin with. So just remember that the equation is y equals mx plus b, where the m is our slope, b is our y-intercept, and x and y are just points that are on the line. So they're the coordinates of a point on the line. So there's many values for x and y. Standard form. So if we have standard form, what we can do is rearrange it to get y equals mx plus b. So we want to leave y by itself. We want to isolate y and get everything else on the other side. So I would subtract 2x. So I'm left with negative 3y and negative 2x plus 5. And I just wrote the x first because I want to keep it in mx plus b form, so the x value first. Okay, so I don't have y by itself. The next thing I want to do is divide by negative 3. And remember, we're dividing everything, every term by negative 3. So that cancels out, and I have y is equal to, and it's simplifying on the other side, 2 over 3x minus 5 over 3. So now I have slope y-intercept form. 2 over 3 is the slope, y-intercept is negative 5 over 3. Okay, on to b. Again, same thing. I want to get y by itself, so I'm going to get rid of the 5x by subtracting 5x. So negative 5x plus 8 is equal to 2y. And then divide by change the color. Divide by 2. And remember, we're dividing by everything by 2. So now we'll get negative 5 over 2x plus 4 is equal to y. So it doesn't matter that y is on the other side. I just need it by itself. Moving on. Remember, you can pause, rewind, whatever, whenever you want. So I want x by itself. I'm going to subtract the 13. So I have 16x minus 13 is negative 7y. Oh, did again. Let's change the color. And now I want to get rid of the negative 7. So I'm going to divide by negative 7. And make sure that I divide everything by negative 7. So y is left on the right side. And then on the left side, I have negative 16 over 7x plus 13 over 7. I'm going to leave it like that. Fractions, if I could reduce, I would reduce. Next one. Again, pause, whatever you need to do. I want to get y by itself. So everything is already on the right side. Let's just move the y value to the left side. So add 4y. So the left side now I'll have 4y. On the right side I have 10x minus 8. And I did again. Let's now divide out the 4. That cancels out. So I have y is equal to, now I have 10 over 4. So I'm going to reduce that to 5 over 2. Minus 2, because 8 divided by 4 is 2. And that is changing from standard form to y equals mx plus b form. That's the equation of a line. So in standard form, it's still the equation of a line. It's just now we have slope and y-intercept, and we'd be able to graph it given those values. In standard form, we can only graph using a table of values or x and y intercepts. So now, moving on, let's say we have this information, the slope and the y-intercept. They give us what slope and y-intercept are. So I just need to fill in what y equals mx plus b is. So if the slope is negative 4 over 5, I replace m with negative 4 over 5. Now y and x are still going to be there. And I look for what the y-intercept is. So they told me it's negative 9. I write negative 9. That's my equation. In b, they tell me that m is negative 3. So in y equals mx plus b, instead of m, I have negative 3. And the b value is 0. So what it looks like is this, but we wouldn't write that. We would just write negative 3x. Now in c, if the y-intercept is 5 over 3, but the slope is 0, now if I put 0 for m, 0 times x, plus the y-intercept is 5 over 3, well, 0 times x is 0. So it's gone. It's not really there. I don't have a slope. So it's a horizontal line that goes through 5 over 3. Okay, so if I have the slope and I have the y-intercept, then I just plug it in for m and b in y equals mx plus b. Now the rest of them are just going to be doing the same thing, just we need to do a step before that to figure out what m is or what b is. So let's say we have the slope and a point. So in the equation y equals mx plus b, I know that m, or the slope, is 4. But they tell me that it passes through 2, negative 3. So remember, this is telling me an x and a y in my equation. It goes through that point. So I know that x is equal to 2 and y is equal to negative 3. So if I plug that in, the only thing I don't know is b. So now I can rearrange the equation and solve for b. So if I simplify here, I get 8. And now I want to get b by itself. Subtract the 8. B is equal to negative 11. So now I know that the equation is 4x minus 11, because they gave me b, or sorry, they gave me m, which is 4, and I figured out b, so I just plug it in. So now here in y equals mx and b, what do I know? Well, I know that y is 1 because it's here. I know that the m is negative 2 over 3 because that's there. I know x is negative 3. I just don't know b. So I can fill in all the values that they've given me and now solve for b. So if I simplify, the negative 3 and 3 will cancel out to be negative 1. So the negative 2 will become positive 2. And now we'll get rid of the 2 to get negative 1 is equal to b. So we've figured it out. My slope is negative 2 over 3. My b is negative 1. So that's the equation. So if we know the slope and a point, we plug in everything for y, x, and m, and then we'll have our enough to solve for b. So what happens if we have 2 points? Well, I still need to get y, m, x, and b. But the problem here is I don't know the slope and I don't know the y-intercept. But we can figure out the slope. Because slope, given 2 points, is the difference in the y's over the difference in the x's. So -4 minus 7 is -11. -1 minus 3 is going to be -4, so that's our slope. Well, positive 11 over 4 because the negatives make a positive. So now if I fill in things that I know, it looks like this, which is similar to what we did in some previous questions. So what I'm missing is b. It looks like a 6. Let me change that. I'm missing b, but I have something for x and y. I have 2 points. This is an x and a y. That's an x and a y. So I can plug in either one. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to plug in the 3 and the 7 just because they look nice and positive. And then I'll solve for b. It's a fraction, but don't be scared of it. I'm going to subtract 33 over 4. So I have 7 minus 33 over 4 is equal to b, so I need a common denominator, which makes this 28 over 4. So it'll be -5 over 4. So we figured out m, and we figured out b. So now we just have to put it together. M was 11 over 4x. B is -5 over 4. So that's our equation. Okay, so again, we have different information. 2 points, but just shown a different way. An x-intercept of -5, which means it's -5, 0. And a y-intercept of -2, which means it's 0, -2. So we have 2 points. And we can find the slope. And then we can find the y-intercept, which we already know. And then we're done. So really all we need is the slope, because we know b. We just need m. So y2 minus y1 so -2 over 5 would be your slope. So that's all we need to do. They gave us the y-intercept in the equation, and we figured out the slope between those 2 points, and we're done. Okay, also, if you graph it, you'll be able to easily figure out what the slope is. You don't have to use the formula. Oops. -5, -2, we can see your rise and your run there. Okay, so determine the equation of a line that has a slope of -1 over 3 and has the same y-intercept as this line. So mx and b, they gave us the slope for this equation of the line that we need to come up with. We know that the slope is -1 over 3. Now, they gave us a different line and just said we're going to have the same y-intercept as that line. So that's going to give us what our b is. So if we find the y-intercept from 2x minus 4y plus 7 equals 0, then we'll know what the y-intercept is for the line that we want to make. So how do we do that? We make x equal to 0. So 2 times 0 is 0. Now if we solve for y, and divide out the -4, we know that y is equal to 7 over 4. So this is our y-intercept, or b. And we knew the slope. So now we have our equation. It had the slope -1 over 3. And it shares the same y-intercept as the equation they gave us. So we figured out what the y-intercept was, which is 7 over 4. So we have our equation.